All right, greetings. So, turn up the video speed. What if I told you that the poor in America, the subsidized, where it's either government or charity, live better than the working class? Yeah, let me pull back the curtain and show you how things really are. This is Freedom Phil, like to subscribe. Let's get into it. Always turn up the video speed because, hey, whatever speed I'm talking at, you can listen far faster. Let's get into it. I know a lot of you don't believe me. This whole image of being poor in America, this idea of like, oh, they're poor, their vehicle isn't as nice. They don't live in the affluent neighborhood that we live in. No, it's all the same thing at some point. You got a roof over your head, you got a place to live, getting by, and you got free time. I'd argue the person who has the most free time, that's wealth, because you can actually do whatever the hell you want. But today, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about the food system, the food banks, and let's get into why so many poor people, no offense, why they're so fat. And maybe we should pay homage to that poor suffering Mazda I saw. Looked like one of those, well, no, was that a Nissan? Nissan, it looked like a Stanza. And it must have been like a Chinese version of hell for bad cars. Because when those two Michelin folks got out of that vehicle, it like, when it lifted up, it was like a sigh of relief. I was just sitting back at the time, waiting in the shade of the park. There, a little ways over, there was a drunk guy, homeless guy, sitting there drinking a 40, and I was just waiting for that line to get shorter because I didn't want to stand out in the sunlight for an hour. Yep, just kicking back in the shade, and that poor car, it's like it lifted. Oh, God, thank you. The boulder was off Sophocles' back. You see all these big people, mid-sized, fat people, whatever, going to the food bank. And you'd think being broke, these people would be a lot thinner. Nope. Nope. I'm going to explain how this whole system works. You should never feel bad about getting free food because they take taxes out of your paycheck to pay for the whole damn system. The farmer gets a huge tax deduction along the way for all his equipment, the crop insurance, and everything. I'm not anti-farmer. I'm just telling it like it is. You guys get huge kickbacks. Then the people moving it, whether it's the farmer or a private truck industry, gets paid to move that stuff from here to there. A lot of deductions. You know, your tax dollars pay for those deductions. Because if they're not paying it, you're paying it. Then it goes to the factory, a lot of employees, a lot of people, which eventually goes back on another truck, likely goes to a DC. And then after that, gets sent to your grocery stores. Now, all that food they're giving away, do you think that they just give it away and they don't get a benefit from that? Because they either get a deduction for the dumpster that it would go in, or they get an even better deduction, a huge deduction off their taxes, of giving away that food before it really goes bad. You know, when it becomes not good enough for their customers, but good enough for a tax deduction. So let me give you a lowdown on what I've received at a lot of food banks. I've went there, and you know those really expensive medjool pitted dates, um, almonds, whole bags, huge bags of almonds, all sorts of cereal. You know, when you go to the grocery store and it's like anywhere on a deal, 3 something to 5 something for a box of cereal. I got that for free. Oats, vegetables. One point, I got a whole spiral ham. I've got turkeys before. I've got, Lord knows how much steak. You know, and there's a lot of food banks where they're like, do you want this, this, or this? And it's like, okay, well, I'll choose that. And you think you write down, you click on it, what you want. Okay, well, I want this, this, and this. And once every 2 weeks, you come to the food bank. And so I ended up with more food than I actually had. And mind you, this food came out of some business that got to claim it. Bags of rice and beans that basically never go bad. Well, we have too much stock and it's a bumper crop, so they donate it. Or they just throw it in a pit, let it go to waste, but they get a big tax deduction if they manage to donate it. You see? So you basically, from the food banks, get more than enough food than you would ever need to eat. I know this. Been there, done that. I have traveled, I've been in many different persons, whether it was bum life, traveling, van life with bumming, or if it was trucking, traveling the country. I've seen it all. And funny thing about it was, when I go to these food banks, most of the people would have way newer and nicer vehicles than I would have. My old 88 van would be the oldest. Mine would be the old man of vehicles there. You know, like they look over at my vehicle like I'm going to break into their vehicle. Mind you, we're at a fucking food bank and you're looking weird eyed at somebody else at a food bank. Maybe check yourself at where you're at. Think about it for a second. But yeah. And one might argue, well, how do they have these vehicles? And we should cover poverty and vehicles in another video. That one always seems funny to me. But yeah, after getting all the food you need in the world, you'd think you'd be fine. But then comes in food stamps. I myself, assuming that I was down and out, low enough to, be so-called poor on paper, because there's a truth to that too, I would be able to get $250 to $300 per month for food. Do you realize with that much EBT, I could literally have the perfect keto diet all the time? I'd have a wonderful keto diet. I'd be able to eat a healthier diet than I can afford as a working class person. Because when I have to pay for the food, I got to think about how much I'm spending. Which there are times, and I'm still eating some of the stuff I have left over from when I was just traveling, hitting up food banks. And I know I'm a horrible person. I'm a bad person. I paid into this system my whole damn life. Please try to tell me why I should feel bad about getting something back for once. No wife, no kids. I just pay when I work. But yeah, more variety, better food than I would actually buy on my own. And so when you think about $300 and what I could do with that, that's incredible amounts. Most of the people, like I remember talking to a family member just a few years back, and I'm like, well, what does it cost for you to feed your family here? And she's a very good cook, very efficient. And she says, oh, probably $500 a month for me, the husband, and the two kids. Okay. I told her in this particular state, people that are on the system get $740, probably more now. Think about that. You got a system, a robust food bank system that gives you all the food you need, and then you got $740 for your family of porkers to go buy whatever you want. Well, let's talk about what you can buy. When I was a kid, there was a concept that you can only get actual food. But they changed that because it's not about feeding people. It's about feeding money back into the system. So your tax dollars going to the EBT, which then goes back to the food processors. If it's consumable. Now, I know some states may not allow this, but you can buy energy drinks on food stamps. You can buy a pre-made sub sandwich. A lot of states, as long as it's not cooked, you can buy Papa Murphy's. Like you could get that stuffed Chicago style pizza on EBT. In fact, a lot of those type of places, it says it right on the building. We accept EBT. You could buy the highest cuts of meat. And by the way, why wouldn't you? If you've already got all the rest of the fixings at home from the food bank. Highest cuts of meat at the food bank. You can go down the Dollar Tree candy aisle, chip aisle, and pretty much buy anything you want there. I don't know if there's anything you can't buy on that aisle. All on EBT. Oh, and they wonder why people are dying of heart attacks and diabetes. Sure, you can't, most states, I don't know if it's all this way everywhere, but most states you can't buy cooked food, which probably pisses off the people at McDonald's. What do you mean we can't buy McDonald's with EBT? We want a piece of that. But think about that for a second. While you're out there working to feed your family, the system that's there to help people is causing them to get as big as that enemy from Streets of Rage, Big Ben. They're getting that big. I saw those people getting out of that poor, I think it was a Nissan Stanza or something like that Chinese hell for that little gray car. You're paying for that. Yeah. And I just think it's kind of funny when people sit there and try to, oh, it's so bad being poor in America. No. And we'll cover one of the other factors in another video. And that is the reason poverty sucks for you is that you bring drama into your own lives. Just the truth of it. I'll cover that in another video. But yeah, I thought I'd just cover the real poverty series in America, because this is how it really is. Even I'll even cover how even some of the cases where I've seen bums that basically have nothing. They have all the time in the world. They have money given. Some of them even get cash. Cash. So let's just say, on this side video, in fact, I did a video about this, how to fake crazy and how to get money. You got $1,000 per month, free food, a free place to live. You got everything going. Why wouldn't you be high all the time? Yeah. We'll cover that in another video. This is Freedom Phil. Like and subscribe. And if you made it through this video at regular speed, I'm amazed. I know I couldn't. And hey, like and subscribe. And if you feel free to comment, and just so you know, I generally don't comment back. That's because of the algorithm. And moreover than that, if you're just being a douche in the comments, I'll just erase your comment. So hey, if you got a productive question, maybe leave it there. But this is Freedom Phil. Like, subscribe. Let's get into it. Oh yeah, that's the beginning. Take it easy. Later.